Nilofer, how is it going?
So, yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm just enjoying being in my own energy, in my own space.
Okay. But I saw your Facebook post today and I really loved it. And what a beautiful post. I sometimes wonder, like, how do you get all these wonderful, thought-provoking ideas?
I actually had a Zoom meeting yesterday with three amazing women. So these women were part of a program that I did. And so we've decided to meet once a month and just exchange ideas. And yesterday was a very beautiful conversation, and it was really unexpected, and it went really deep. And all of us came away from this feeling so like it just opened up so much for us. And one of the things that one lady was speaking about was completions, and I've been pondering that. And as I was going for my walk today, I thought I should respond to her in our WhatsApp chat.
Mhm.
And so I responded exactly what I wrote in the post, but of course in the chat it was a little more personalized. In the Facebook post, I made it general, so that's how I
I will
posted
say,
it.
keep sharing such things. It's so good to read and get some ideas, and it's like inspiring also in a way, and yeah, so it's like, you have so many choices available and like what will you choose from there?
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. True.
yeah. So isn't it amazing that we are here and we are going to talk about batch flower remedies now?
Yeah, and what's even more amazing is that you were actually the person who got me really intrigued and really interested in using batch flower. And because of you, I actually went a little bit more deeper into batch flower, because I have heard about batch flower from a
Mhm,
really long time, and
mhm,
people have given me some books and manuals and all. But it wasn't until I actually started talking to you, or rather, it wasn't until something that happened. I remember it was almost a year ago, and I shared with you how my husband was going through a very difficult time in his
mhm.
workplace. And you actually suggested batch flower remedies. In fact, you were so kind enough to make two combinations and give it to me. And once my husband started taking those remedies, I could see immediately within 1 or 2 days the distinct shift in him. And seeing that, I got really interested. I said, oh, wow, yeah, this works. There is something here, something that, I'd love to explore. And at that point of time, it wasn't even like, for me, for most things, anything to do with healing, my first instinct is I want to learn all about it, and I want to incorporate it into my own, system where I work with people. But at that point of time, I had just lost my dad. And so I was also in a very emotionally fragile state. So I was looking to do my own healing. And so from that point, my journey with Batch Flower actually began. So thank you so much for introducing me to this.
I mean, I introduced you, but you took it, in a serious way, and you started using them. So that's how things started showing up for you. I will say, I can take some partial credit, but actually you took initiative. So
Yeah, and I also believe that when you require something and you have this, you when you are seeking something, then it shows up in your life. So you and Bachelor Remedies at that point of time were what actually showed up for me.
wonderful. So are you still using batch flowers regularly?
To be honest, not in the last couple of months, but
Mhm,
before that, I was using it a lot.
mhm.
And I want to actually share a couple of experiences with you. And I want to share these experiences because they were so startling and so dramatic almost. So one was a very recent one. So during the summer, I was visiting the UK. And towards the end of my trip, I got COVID. And the first 1 or 2 days were fine, and then I started getting this dry cough, and I was like coughing non-stop. So uh, during the day it was okay, I would sit up and it was fine. But by sitting up so long, my back would start hurting. But the moment I lay down, the cough used to be non-stop. Like in the prone position, it was very, very bad. And I had someone had given me a mixture for COVID, and I had actually prepared that mixture and carried it with me when I went to the UK. I don't exactly remember what are the remedies, but I
It's
can
okay.
give it to you later. And so what happened was that during the day I was consuming those drops, but it didn't seem to make much of an effect. So what happened was one night I was completely coughing, and I was so exhausted by my coughing that in the morning I woke up and I was just like, oh my God, this is so bad. And I had not slept at all, and I was just so exhausted. And suddenly I had this idea. I thought, let me take this bottle and just put it under my pillow. And I put it under my pillow and I lay down and I could sleep.
Yeah.
So
You
just,
shared with me. Yeah.
keeping it under my pillow, the energy field and whatever, my cough was gone. And that was like amazing for me. So from that day onwards, every time I had to lie down, I would put the bottle under my pillow and go to sleep, and I would not cough at all. So this was like a dramatic, really dramatic
Isn't it
experience.
amazing, to find out
Yeah,
something, all of a sudden from nowhere?
yeah, exactly. And the thing is that working with energies, I know that it is possible, but I saw this very, very dramatic kind of shift. And so this was like a huge thing. This was one of the things. The other thing is the rescue remedy. I love rescue remedy, and I have so many stories to share about rescue remedy.
Mhm.
And most of them are again to do with not really consuming it, but just carrying it on my person, right? So I love going for long walks and all of that. And in December we had some guests unexpectedly, and so I had to actually do a lot of housework. Like I had to stand for hours and do cooking and so on. And so my back starts hurting if I stand for very, very long time. So what I started doing was that I would wear pants which had pockets in it, and I would carry rescue remedy in my pocket. And I would be able to stand for long hours without feeling tired, without getting a backache or any of that. Okay. So this is one thing. The other thing is that while we were in the UK, we were doing a lot of hiking. So we used to climb mountains or just go on flat hikes. And pretty much every day we were doing between 8 to 10 kilometers. And I noticed something very interesting, when we were doing this. Like I would carry rescue remedy in my pocket, and I noticed up to 8 kilometers, I would be perfectly fine.
Mhm.
And the rescue remedy would really help me or whatever. But the moment it went beyond 8 kilometers, my back would start hurting. So I said, that is something interesting going
Yeah.
on. So, and to give you a context, I normally go for a walk every day, and I walk 5.5 kilometers. Like my
Mhm.
normal circuit is like 5.5 kilometers. So rescue remedy actually kept me going for 2.5 kilometers more.
Yeah.
Right. But beyond that, I noticed that it
Maybe it was kind of giving you signal that now it's time to stop, take
to
a
stop.
break.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. So these have been a few of my experiences with using rescue remedy. And with rescue remedy, I also find that even if I'm feeling a little bit dull or something, I just, carry it in my pocket or carry it on my person. And it just, I just feel good about it.
Yeah,
The
I mean, if I ask you, which one is your favorite remedy, I am sure you're going to say rescue remedy.
Actually, I wouldn't really say that, because I find that every remedy has its own importance.
That's true.
And with some remedies, I've had some very, very dramatic experiences. And so I just like, wow, it just makes me smile.
Would you like to share your dramatic experiences with individual remedies?
Yeah. So I was just going to come to that. So one remedy that I recall is holly, and holly is generally for anger, right? So one day, I had an argument, or I was very irritated with my husband. And then after that, we were supposed to get into the car and go to the city. So from my home to the city, it's almost like a 30-minute drive. So what I did was that I took Holly at that point of time, and then I got into the car and I promptly forgot about it. And about 20-25 minutes into the drive, I just started feeling happy. I was like happy, and I'm like wondering, why am I feeling so happy suddenly? And then we went into this market and we were looking for carpets and everything, and I was just feeling so happy, and I was like, oh my god, I'm feeling so happy, and it wasn't until much later I realized that I had taken holly before getting into the car. So that was like an amazing experience, again, like one of those really dramatic kind of experiences. Another remedy which I love, but also which I find a little bit interesting, and it's also challenging, is Star of Bethlehem.
Yeah.
So, I started taking, I read somewhere, take Star of Bethlehem every day for some number of days. So
Mhm.
I started taking Star of Bethlehem. And what I noticed was that I was getting all these memories. And remember, I told you that my
Yeah.
dad had just
Mhm.
passed recently. So I started getting all memories of my dad in his last days. Like, I was taking care of my dad for the last 8 months of his life when he was really sick and all that. So I started getting all those memories. And, after like 3-4 days, finally, I had like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh, Star of Bethlehem is the one which is bringing up all these memories for me. And I remember talking to you about it, and you suggested that I take walnut. So I took
Mhm.
walnut, and immediately those memories subsided. But the important thing here is that a lot of times, we have these memories and these are stored into our system. And so, taking the Star of Bethlehem has been really good because it brings up all these memories. And then, I can take walnut and I can let go of them. And actually, the same thing happened when I was taking the tincture for COVID, because one of the remedies in that was Star of Bethlehem.
Mhm.
And I started getting all these memories about my dad, and I was wondering, why am I getting now? Because I don't think I have so much grief around it or all that. But obviously, it was stored in my system and it was coming up. And at that point, I didn't recall that, one of the remedies is Star of Bethlehem. But later, when I was sharing that remedies with someone, I realized that Star of Bethlehem is also a component of that. And I said, oh, this was what was creating all those memories for me.
But it's surprising that Star of Bethlehem is also part of rescue remedy, which you were carrying around with you in pocket.
Yeah, but this is the thing about it, because if I don't consume that remedy, I don't get the memories. So I
Mhm.
have noticed that only when I consume Star of Bethlehem, I start getting memories. It's not when I carry it.
Ah, okay. So you get different experience when you ingest it, and you get different experience when you are carrying with you. So
Exactly.
I remember, you also suggested me, because you have been an energy healer for a long time and you're also a clairvoyant. You suggested that we can send remedies energetically to people. So have you done any experiment with that?
Not really. I've been quite lazy in that sense. So I've only ever used the remedies on myself. or if I want to suggest, I tell people to consume the remedies. I haven't really told them how to, I haven't really told people how to take the energies energetically or all of that. So
That will
that's
be a
not
good
there.
experiment for us to do. Don't you think so?
Yeah, maybe.
Another thing, again, coming to your clairvoyant abilities, I mean, uh, we normally cannot perceive things which you can, or see things. Have you ever noted the effect of batch flowers on your near or dear ones, energetically when they consumed batch remedies? Say, for example, your son or maybe your husband.
Yeah. So I don't recall very startlingly this experience, but there was one experience when somebody consumed, I don't remember exactly, it's like a little vague for me right now, but somebody had taken a backflower remedy, and the moment they put one drop on their tongue, the whole energy field changed. It just it just became lighter, it expanded out, and I could just perceive that, and I was like, wow. So right now, I cannot remember who that person is or
Yeah, it
whatever.
doesn't matter, but you had some experience.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, the moment they took it, and in the moment itself, the energy shifted. It's like that. So it's so
exactly.
fast and quick,
Very, very powerful. Yes.
very powerful. So, Nilofer, when I first started with batch remedies, actually, my mother, she introduced me like more than 20 years back. And she was giving us individual remedies. But now, I have become like a practitioner, and now I'm practicing and giving people composites, but I'm not randomly mixing. What's your experience? Do you prefer taking individual remedies or composites?
To be honest, I prefer individual remedies. So what I have noticed with individual remedies when I personally take is that, when I take one drop of an individual remedy, I can feel my energy shift with it. And
Mhm.
then even if I wait like maybe a minute or so before I take the next remedy, I find that individually the remedies are much more potent
Mhm.
than when I take a composite. The only place where I would take a composite is when I'm traveling. So,
Yeah.
for example, when I was going to the UK, so I had prepared 3 or 4 composites. Like one was for COVID, the other one was for jet lag, then one was I think, it was a composite of scleranthus and, all those kind of
Yeah.
remedies which are to do with, like psychic attacks and those kind of things. And one was to do with digestive issues. So, these 4 composites I took because I could not really carry all the remedies with me when I went.
This is also, I feel, that individuals, I mean, being with an individual remedy, you can observe more shift, like in case of, I mean, in your experience also, when you were carrying that composite, I mean, because you could not carry everything with you. So there also, you could not feel like which remedy exactly was creating what. So
Yeah, yeah,
I also,
exactly.
I also think, and I also believe in individual, taking individual remedies.
And one more thing I read in one of the groups, batch flower remedy groups. I read somebody said that if you take individual remedies, then you are not restricted to 7. You can take as many as you want.
Yeah, that's true.
And so sometimes you're like looking at, oh, I require this also and this also and this also, and it might be 10 remedies. So if you are taking one remedy at a time and you wait like a minute or 5 minutes in between and take the remedies, then it works. Also another thing, but I think this is very personal to me. I don't know whether it applies to other
Everybody.
people
Yeah.
or not, but I find that, I don't need to take the remedies repeatedly during the day. Like if I take these remedies individually once in a day, I find is pretty much it does the work. Or maximum it might be 2 times.
Mhm.
But um that's how it works for me. So, and also when I also prepare my composites or whatever, I don't use many drops of the remedies. I just put one or
Yeah,
two
you are
drops.
more energetically sensitive, I feel,
Yeah, yeah.
So, Nilofer, in your case, the frequency you can reduce, you are saying 1 or 2 times is okay because you are so much self-aware of your emotions. But not everybody is as aware as you are because you are like a healer, and maybe you will not call yourself therapist, but you have all the qualities to be a therapist, So that why
Yeah, that's exactly the reason I said that this may or may not
yeah,
apply to people. But there are also people who are listening to you who might be, healers and who
yeah,
might be very aware. So I think, this could just talk to them because, the point is that do what works for you.
that's true. That's
And
why we call
so
these energies like person-centric.
exactly. So if you require to take a remedy frequently, then go ahead and do it. But if you find that just taking it once or twice is creating the change, then you may not require it more times.
Yeah.
So again, it's to do with, self-discovery, self-awareness, just, being willing to observe what change is occurring because you are taking the batch flower remedies. But what I love about batch flower remedies is that they are so gentle
Yeah.
and they are so, always call them loving. And I remember long time back, I had a client and she used to work with batch flower remedies and she used to call them my little angels in bottles.
Yeah, you share that.
Because they are exactly like that. They are there to support us and create that change for us.
And what I love about Batch Flower Remedies is that, when you're learning about all these 38 remedies, you become self-aware, because you're like, you start correlating each and everything which you're feeling with the remedies. And you start focusing on yourself. You become more self-aware that way, of what is going on within you and how can you help yourself. So it's empowering and giving you self-awareness both ways. So,
Yeah,
Nilofer,
exactly.
yeah. So, Nilofer, how much rating at a scale of 0 to 10, 10 would you like to give to Batch Flower Remedies, in comparison to other healing modalities that you have practiced?
I wouldn't really compare, Sonal, because what I find is that you will require different things at different points of time. And at a certain point of time, I really required the batch flower remedies. And at that point, I would give it 10 on 10.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And because I personally required it, I found I got the remedies, I started using them, and it created this huge shift in my life. And right now, I'm at this energetically in this space of just self inquiry, getting clarification, just being in my own energy. And right now, I don't feel the urge to even touch the remedies. So when I needed them,
Yeah,
they were there for me.
they will show up. You will get the
Exactly.
name. Okay, this is, it's like a light bulb, you said that, I think. So it's like a light bulb with the name of the remedy, I will say.
Exactly. And I've had these days, when I would wake up and I would have the name of one remedy in my head, and I would just take that remedy that day, and things would, uh, you know, uh, be very, very different because of that remedy, and I would get very different awarenesses because of that remedy. So there's that too. And many times, when I'm also like working with clients, and then I'm talking and they say something and suddenly I'm like, this remedy. So then I suggest to them that please get this remedy and consume it. And if they use it, most of them report that that remedy actually created a big shift for them. So it's like that.
I will say, having knowledge of batch flower remedies, I mean, if you are incorporating in your healing practice also, it's going to be very, very empowering, not only for you, but for your clients also.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do agree. And And I agree that this is like a very, very simple tool that, you know, every healer should have in their toolbox, you know. And
Yeah.
so when you feel that, okay, this is what is required, you then have it available for you to use.
Okay, thank you, Nilofer, for your time and your wonderful sharings on flower power. And it's so amazing to talk to you on batch flowers, even though I knew like you shared all these experiences, but I'm sure that many people are going to listen to this episode and they will start, or maybe they will look into what batch flower remedies is, and they will start using them, sooner or later. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sonal, for inviting me. And I had so much fun talking. And I really loved sharing my experience with Batch Flower Remedies because they have just had such dramatic experiences like that COVID, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that was like such a huge thing because I was really suffering in those days, and that one mixture really helped me to sleep and to you know, get over my dry cough. So really, when I required them,
Why
they
don't
were
you
there.
share the recipe? Just give me a
Yeah,
recipe the
absolutely.
episode,
I will.
and then I will put it down like in the description or somewhere, so that
Yeah,
people.
yeah, definitely. After our conversation, I'm going to send you the recipe, and you can definitely share it with people.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.